Hey guys, and welcome to Smells Like Teen Angst. I'm Sarah, and I am joined by the infamous Shawn from Lost in the Real. Say hi.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for saying yes. So we are bringing you a Gossip Girl after show, and we don't mean the CW version. We are talking about the darker version, less peppy HBOMax version of Gossip Girl every week today, starting with episode 1. So let's just dive in. We don't need any more pleasantries. What was your, just like, without getting too detailed, your first impression of episode 1?
My first impression was, like you said, it is very serious. And it's definitely not, they're trying to be different. So I appreciate that. I don't know if they've reached the point of being completely departing from the original series, but I can definitely see them trying to take a darker tone, which I have issues with, but I also like as well. So I'm sure we'll dive into that in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm there with you. Like, when you're doing rebooting an iconic show such as Gossip Girl, you have to make it different. But then when you make it different, you have to make it better. And I feel like the jury is still out on the better at the moment.
Oh yeah, the jury's definitely still out.
Let's talk a little bit about the voiceover of Gossip Girl setting up this episode. I know, the incomparable Kristen Bell is back, who was the original iconic Gossip Girl voice. You could not do this show without her. And I think it's fun to listen to the original versus what she sounds like now, because she does sound older. It's been a decade. And honestly, when I first watched the trailer, I was like, they didn't get Kristen Bell. And then I kept listening, like, I know, because it sounded different. And I was like, wait, it is.
Oh my gosh. When I first found out, obviously I knew before I started watching that Kristen Bell was coming back. I'm like, that is a big win for this show. And I still feel that way. Yeah. I think having her back, the moment I heard her voice, I was just like, there's something about it that feels like we are once again in this world, this Gossip Girl world. And it definitely made the episode for me, at least, like, exciting. I got that rush again, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk Gossip Girl.
Yes.
Because I was shocked that they revealed who Gossip Girl is from the get. Like 20 minutes into this episode, and we know who Gossip Girl is, which is not, so like, I like that, but I also don't like that. Because, you know, we have, like, it's 6, I know. It's like, 6 seasons, was it 6 seasons of the original Gossip Girl?
I think so, 6.
Katie Rose, was it 6 seasons? It was. If you notice, for anyone who follows my channel, I'm not in my home. I'm with my friend who might actually pop in because she is also a Gossip Girl stan, and we watched this together. But in those 6 seasons, we never knew who Gossip Girl was. And if you read articles, you know that the show creators didn't know who Gossip Girl was going to be either. So in the end, we learn it's Dan Humphrey, which is kind of the worst choice because he was horrible to himself. He was horrible to Serena, who he ends up marrying. Like, it's like, but I guess if anyone could forgive Chuck Bass, I guess we can forgive him too.
That's true.
So my point being, to reveal it in the very beginning, I think is fascinating. But I feel like they had to, because here it comes, guys. Gossip Girl is the teachers of Constance. Oh, that's a face. What do you think of it being the teachers, Shawn? Do tell.
I have so many opinions about this. Even though I did not love the reveal from the original, and it didn't make a lot of sense. You could obviously tell the writers didn't know who it was going to be. There was still a air of mystery about the show that kept you watching. And that's what really brought me into the original Gossip Girl. I was like, oh, who is it? You know, like, it could be any one of these people. So it was a choice to do this and, like, reveal it in the first 20 minutes of the pilot. I think it makes sense. And I like the behind the scenes aspect of it, that we get to see, like, the inner workings of what Gossip Girl's doing. And I like to see that behind the scenes look. I don't know if it really makes sense to me that the teachers are doing it because the teachers are being bullied. Like, really? Like, I don't know. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I also will talk about the teachers in a little bit, but yeah.
Having to be the teacher. So like with this world, from how it seems to me, is that these socialites are not bullies to the student body, but they bully the teachers. So that's the line we seem to be okay with.
Right.
And then for it to be like teacher revenge, I'm like, what a wicked abuse of power on these kids to mess with their lives like this. Like they're causing drama where drama is not necessary. Zoya almost loses her scholarship because of the teachers posting about this. Like it's insane.
Yeah, I don't know if I like it because also we're supposed to be watching these kids every week and like at least be invested in their lives. And I know, in the original Gossip Girl, they're not like the nicest people in the world either, that cast. No. But
that's the point.
Exactly. But like I at least want to like them in some way, and to see the way that they treat these teachers, it's just horrible. So it's like, screw these students for treating their teachers like that. And then also for these teachers, I don't really feel remorse for them either, because they're now doing this revenge in this sort of way. So it's a very interesting decision.
I agree. And I also kind of wonder how long they can sustain it. Like how long can they keep the teachers the villains? Like, I just think we'll just see what happens.
I think what would be interesting is them to reverse kind of what they've done. So have the teachers have the behind the scenes, and then possibly at the end of this season, or maybe to jumpstart the second season, have all of a sudden there's like another Gossip Girl who's a secret Gossip Girl who's taking over for the teachers since the teachers have been found out, or something like that. I'd like to see them ruffle our feathers like that and change it up a bit.
I could absolutely see that. I will say the thing I do like about this new Gossip Girl is that she's on Instagram, because this is 2021. We do not go on a lot of websites anymore, at least not young kids. They don't go on blogs. They don't go on websites. And as we learn in this episode, they also don't go on Twitter.
Right.
So they had to infiltrate where they are, which is Instagram. If you're a social influencer like Julian, you're on Instagram. Right. And I think that's a really smart and fun idea.
Absolutely. I definitely think that was smart on their part, just because that's how it would be in real life. I think like Twitter wouldn't do anything, if the blogs wouldn't do anything. So Instagram was the way to go. Yeah. So one thing that I really loved, and that they started this out, is that they kind of set it up in post-pandemic, in our post-pandemic world, and they brought that up. It made the series feel very current, like how Julian was like, I've been stuck here for a year, like get me out of here, I'm so ready. So I like that they've been bringing that up, and it's making it a little bit more timely.
Yeah, I like that too. And I think, was it Aki or Obi? I don't remember which one did it, but like grabbed Max's face and was like, oh, that's what you look like without a mask on.
Yes, I like that too.
I thought that was very cute. I do like that they're acknowledging it, and I appreciate that we're not in it.
Right. Thank God.
Yeah.
We don't need any more of like pandemic era, like anything. Like we want to feel out of it. And it feels refreshing that they are at least bringing the fact up that the pandemic did happen, but we're out of it.
Yeah. Let's just talk a little bit about our new Gossip Girl victims. So we have Zoya and Julian, who are like the secret sisters, and this is where our drama comes from instead of best friend drama. We have Audrey, which we dive a little bit into who she is later in the series. She's also the girl from The Babysitter. I don't know if you watched The Babysitter.
Oh, I did not put two and two together.
Yeah, she's not like the main girl. She's like the friend girl. We have Monet and Luna, who are like the PR person and the stylist. Max Wolf, who I consider like the more edgy, darker Chuck Bass. Otto, who is very much our new lonely boy, and Aki or Aquino. What do you think of our new cast?
So I really like the new cast. I think all of them, I can see that they have talent, and I can see they're putting a lot into their characters. I don't know if I like where they're taking all of these characters right now, but I definitely see that the cast themselves have potential. What do you think?
I worry because, like, we're only one episode deep and we don't have a lot of character development on anyone except for the two sisters, which I guess is fine. But like all we know so far is just like Audrey and Aquino are dating because we get that like opening sex scene. That's just like so awkward. Yeah, exactly. Quote unquote sex scene. We'll get into that. And then you have like Otto, who like I call him the new lonely boy because he's like they call him what, like the Prince of New York or the King of whatever. But he's like a super liberal, I'll go with, because he's very much caring about all these like issues. Zoya and Julian, I don't know how much I love them because I don't know why Julian is famous yet. Like, why is she like insta famous? How many followers does she have? They don't even tell us by the end of the episode. I also don't like that for her being an influencer, they don't seem to understand what it is like to be an influencer. You don't just take one picture. I don't even take one picture for my thumbnail.
We did like 50.
Exactly. And then like you have like little Zoya, who is supposed to be like the innocent new girl that came. There's just like a lot of like weird mystery around her for no reason. Like, why did she get kicked out of her old school? Why this? And I don't know, like the storyline of it being their mother left Julian's father for Zoya's father, and the fathers kept them apart. Like, is that enough drama for you? Is that enough like sisterly drama love when Gossip Girl kind of gets involved?
No, and this is one of the issues that I have so far in this first episode, and we'll talk about the finale later. But I feel like they're really like struggling to find conflict out of these issues, and I don't think that there is enough just yet for them to like, be at each other's throats. I don't see it being like the main conflict in the original. Especially since they're family. I'm not seeing it just yet.
Yeah, same. And I also kind of miss like, I think that these kids are all beautiful and stunning and attractive in their own way. Cause like, old school Gossip Girl, they were very traditionally beautiful. And I don't think, I like that they kind of went a different route with this.
Me too.
But I don't look at them and think Manhattan Elite.
No.
Right?
No.
So, like, yeah, I'm so glad you're with me on this because I'm like, where are the really fancy homes? Because honestly, Max's house looks just like a nice kitchen in Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like, that's not enough for me. We get to see Obi's apartment. That's supposed to be like a whole, like kind of like Blair, right? Owns the whole building, owns the whole floor, and it just looked like an empty warehouse.
It did look like an empty warehouse, yes.
Yeah. So like, where is the eliteness? Where is the like glamour?
I feel like what they've tried to do here, which once again I have issue with, but I see where they're going with it as well, is instead of like having it be about like the glamorous lifestyle of the rich and famous, which is why we watch Gossip Girl. Like, we want to act like we live in their life too. They wanted us to be able to, the audience, to relate to these characters more because they take Lyfts and Ubers and they maybe are not as rich as the people from the original, but I think that kind of takes away from what made the original such a guilty pleasure.
Exactly. But like, that's what Gossip Girl is, right? Gossip Girl is the elite. Gossip Girl is kind of taking the youth of the lifestyles and the rich and famous and getting a glimpse into their messy lives.
Right.
And we don't seem to have that in this show. And that I'm like, what? Why?
They could have done so much like with the Instagram generation, like who these influencers are and whatnot, and made them these elites. And I'm just surprised that they didn't do it. I think you made a really good point about Julian. Like, why is she famous? So her dad's like a music producer, right?
Right.
And like,
that's all we know.
Exactly. Like, so I'm just confused as to why she's so like Instagram famous, why she's an influencer. They haven't really explained that. I'd like to know.
Yeah. Why do people listen to her? Why does anyone want to follow her? Her life seems rather boring, honestly.
Right.
And
she just goes to like a fancy bar. What is it called? The Dumbo bar?
Oh, Dumbo is a place, like an area in not Williamsburg, but oh my God, words, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like, yeah, Dumbo's an area of Brooklyn. So they like go to these rich kids go to Brooklyn,
Right,
and
to like drink martinis. Like I'm like, okay, I get it. Like it's kind of glamorous for like kids to be drinking martinis at this like high-end bar, but it's just not what you expect from Gossip Girl, you know?
Yeah. Before we dive into some more things that we're not a huge fan of in this episode, I do want to talk about a thing I did love about this episode is that episode 1 of New Gossip Girl is kind of like a college course of Gossip Girl 101 of the original. Yes. So like, when the teachers figure out what is this Gossip Girl, and there's like this one woman who knows everything that I don't remember from the original series. So I think they're just like playing her as a rando at the school. And they're like reading, they're like this Chuck and Blair thing. And then they make the Me Too company, and they read one of my favorite Gossip Girl posts about Chuck and losing his heart, like something we didn't know he had, a heart. I'm just like, oh, I love that one. And then they find out that, oh, Nate Archibald went here, and they're like, oh, so I just wonder, like, who's Nate? A senator, a mayor? He's got to be important. And then like Dan Humphrey was Gossip Girl. You mean the novelist? I love that they've kind of set up this world now by plugging in the original to maybe give us some of the original cast to come back just for like a one-off episode.
Exactly. They're combining the two worlds, which I was really hoping that they would do. So yeah, I really liked that there was a crash course. It made me feel like I was in the Gossip Girl world again. So that I did really love.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. I wanted to talk about, because if you, like we said earlier, if you're going to reboot something, everyone's going to compare it as much as we should just look at it as its own entity. I'm still trying to do it through that lens. But one of my biggest issues with this series is the choice to go darker and the choice, which is like, and it's not just that choice, but it's the choice to go darker and to have every character be the same.
Yeah.
I found every character on the show to speak in the same cadence, to speak in the same Xanaxed out dry tone that's also a little raspy, like they just woke up. And it's not even and it's not even just the kids, it's the adults.
Yes.
And I'm just like, why do the adults also speak like this? So for me right now, they're all very bland, all very one-noted, and all very dark. And this is something, Katie Rose, if you want to pop in eventually, we were discussing last night. I hope you don't mind, Shawn.
Not at all.
Come say hi and get yourself in frame.
Hello. I'm eating lunch, sorry.
That we were talking about is that in order to have a show like Gossip Girl, where you have the darkness, you have the mean, you have the Blair, you have to also balance it with the light, which Serena. Which is Serena. Yeah, Serena from the original.
Yes. There's just nothing like her in this show.
No.
And you had, I mean, she really, Variety magazine, I just saw this last night, Variety magazine called the original Gossip Girl a gilded playground with no limits. I don't feel that way at all about the new Gossip Girl. In fact, the tone and look of it felt more like a Riverdale or a Teen Wolf to me.
It does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Oh my
Like
gosh, I didn't even think of that.
And like warehouses, and it's all dark and sort of, and I guess they're trying to make everybody, you know, very edgy, but when every single character is like that, they just come across as boring.
Correct. Absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah. So I'm just like, where's the light? Because Zoya is not the light.
No, and that's what she should be. And I don't think it's the actress's fault at all. I think that she's doing what she needs to be doing. But I almost feel like maybe the showrunners are not aware that they're doing this, that they're making literally every single character the same. Like, I mean, they should be, but I can't understand why they've made that creative decision to make every single character, like you said, Xanaxed out, have the same cadence. I don't think it's working for the show. I think they really needed to at least make Zoya as the outsider of the group have a much different personality type than the rest of these kids.
And to that point too, I think a lot of the magic of the original show too was having Dan as the outsider. Now his apartment, by the way, was hella cute. I think any of us would love to live there, but compared to, you know, the Vanderwoodson place or the Waldorf place, there was such a huge juxtaposition, and we're not getting that. I mean, I don't really find Zoya's apartment any, you know, really less cute than the other ones, just because, I don't know, the look of it just had a very different very different look from like the Park Avenue stuff we were used to in the original. But
Absolutely.
I thought that served the narrative very well, having that outsider looking in, and Zoya's not really getting there, and she fits in so well immediately, you know?
Right. She doesn't feel like the outsider that she should.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Appreciate you. I'm like, she loves this show. And she's like, I
Yes,
want to talk about it. I'm like, come join us. It's fine. I'm like, that's the point, right? Yeah. So I worry like you do that the showrunners don't realize they've done this.
Yeah.
And I really hope that they don't double down.
Yeah. They need to course correct.
Yes. But this whole show's in the can. So
yeah, about that.
Yeah, I know. And I'm just like, please, because like, you know, we both put out reviews about this show. So we have seen the first 4 episodes, and we are doing a really good job of not diving into later episodes. So they do still, at this point, to our knowledge, have a chance to course correct.
Yeah.
But if they will, I am not optimistic about that.
I mean, I do have a little bit of optimism. I see the show going up and down right now. Like there's some things I really like, and I'm like, oh, that's creative and that's good. That's different. And then, like you said, it's going to be really hard for them to change these characters and make them feel more, diverse and different and unique than what they do now. Like the whole Zannied out thing, like, okay, we get that Max is, and by the way, that was so irritating in the first episode. Everything that came out of his mouth was either sexual or about taking a Zanny or medication. I'm like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Like no one is like that, but it makes sense for him to be like that.
Yeah.
Not every single character.
Right. And I honestly, out of every character, as much as that annoyed me, I like him the most.
Yeah.
So far. I also really like him as an actor whose name I have completely forgotten. What is his name?
Doherty?
Thomas Doherty. Yes.
Doherty, yeah.
He's Dove Cameron's ex-boyfriend.
He was in Descendants, right?
He was in Descendants. Yeah. So and he's done like a couple other things, but he's lovely. So I'm like, I don't know if it's actually my love for him as an actor or if he's actually doing a good job. You know, like you can forgive people that you really like.
Yeah.
I do think that they got a lot of fresh faces that are a little bit on the weaker acting side, but I'm hoping they get better as the directors work with them. And I think that's perfectly fine and forgivable. I
see potential in this young cast. I definitely do. And I said this in my my review, my non-spoiler review, I don't know how I feel about some of these adult actors at all. And maybe that is because what you said, they're acting in the same cadence as these kids. But I think like, especially like Zoya's dad, every time he's on screen, I'm so confused about his vibe. And also the main teacher, I think she's coming off a little weird. So some of the adult acting just was not doing it for me.
I call her Kmart Kristen Bell because which sounds terrible. And I mean nothing against her because I feel like a lot of times people like get mad at actors, but when you're doing a show like this, it's not necessarily all your choices. It's a lot of it is the director and what they want and the creators. So if you're going to get me a knockoff Kristen Bell, then get me Kristen Bell. She's voicing it anyway. How amazing would that be to have Gossip Girl be Gossip Girl?
Game changer for this show. Yeah,
it would have been incredible.
Yeah.
And she would have delivered all the same lines, but she would have done them differently and a little, in my opinion, probably a little better. The dad, I have also seen the dad, Zoya's father, in other things.
I'm sure he's a good actor,
and he does a great job. So I'm kind of like, and I said this in my spoiler, I was like, my spoiler-free review. Sorry, it's just so funny that we keep saying that. That I'm like, maybe it's the Star Wars thing, you know, where like the director of the Star Wars movies was like, Daisy, don't emote, don't do anything. Like you get your lines the day before and then you just kind of say them. And it works for Star Wars. It does not work for me in Gossip Girl.
It doesn't work. It's very unfortunate that they've done this.
And if they're supposed to be Gen Z, I'm on TikTok.
Yeah.
Gen Z is very emotional. They have a lot of thoughts and feelings.
I'm gonna go to your non-spoiler review and say that like, hello, this is why we love RuPaul. We emote. Okay, it's all about emotion. So don't try to tell me that these Gen Zers are like have no emotion at all. It's not true.
No, and I think that's really rude for them to do. Like, I find that obnoxious. And I do need one of these characters to give me some snappy, quick one-liners.
Yes, wit. We need wit.
Where's the wit? I'm like, you're telling me not a single one of these characters knows how to come for the other one, knows how to like zap something out? Get out of here.
That is a really good point, Sarah. And I think this is one of the issues and maybe what could work as the show progresses because the actors maybe they didn't know each other before this show started. There's not a lot of chemistry with this cast right now. And you don't feel like they've been this friend group for a really long time.
No. And I think, like if we're going to give Aki and Audrey drama, I think it works because I don't think they have chemistry together. So if their characters are losing chemistry with each other, I think it makes sense.
Correct. Yeah.
So there's that. Also, can someone just ride around in a limo, please? Can someone just...
They're taking Lyft? I was like, what in the world? Like, I guess it makes sense. Once again, it's like the showrunners are trying to make this relatable for the Gen Z audience. Yeah. I get it. Sure. But I want the rich of the rich. Someone should have a limo. Someone.
I mean, like not to constantly compare, but when you have Chuck Bass is the only one from the original that just rode around in a limo because he's Chuck Bass.
Yeah.
I need that. I need that energy. Give me that energy.
Absolutely. I need it too.
I also have a weird issue with a technical problem in this episode. Okay. And I apologize, y'all. We're jumping around. This is my brain. Shawn is a lot more organized and I am all over the place. So welcome to us. When they're doing that whole airdrop thing, right? The girls are trying to get back at Zoya to get Julian to hate her again, to kick her out of school for some reason that we really don't have a motivation for. That's also an issue. There's no motivation for anything.
Right.
My sister works for Apple and I texted her and I was like, I have never seen this share with all devices button. Is that a thing? And she's like, absolutely not.
Yeah. So they just pulled that out of their ass.
So if you're going to use technology as a weapon, use it correctly.
Right. Absolutely.
Is that dumb? Like, am I I'm so annoyed by that.
I have so many issues with the finale of this first episode.
Yeah. I mean, like, at least in Gossip Girl, people just like emailed the whole school because every student would have an email.
Right. School. That makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You're not going to like mass airdrop to everybody.
No, that's not a real thing.
No, it's not a real thing. And I haven't really gotten into the plot of the episode because I really don't know how to describe it. So if you have a good synopsis, let a girl know.
Right now, the synopsis of this show is that there's these two sisters and one of them, she brings them in and she's like this, she's supposed to be an elite influencer, brings her sister in and, her sister is now kind of, you can see the start of her sister kind of taking her spotlight away from her. And that's what I see that this show, that's what's happening right now. And then there's some characters around and there's some teachers that are trying to take revenge on the students.
The end. And then you have this weird finale because they now hate each other for some reason.
I don't really understand. So she's taking over the spotlight. So, and the whole thing at the end is, so it's Luna and Monet.
Yes. Luna is the stylist and Monet is the PR person.
Okay. Yeah. I need them to give these two characters more to do.
Oh my gosh. They've had nothing to do.
Nothing to do. That's driving me crazy. But so they want to get Zoya out of the picture, I guess, because Zoya is, raining on Julian's parade, I guess.
Yeah. Like all of Julian's niceness is backfiring in a way.
Yeah. Exactly. So I don't understand what happened. So they had this magic airdrop that they pulled out of their butts. And then what did they airdrop? A picture? They said something about a picture?
I think it was a picture of Max's penis.
Okay. They didn't explain that at all.
No.
So they're just like, the picture. And then all of a sudden security's like, what? The girl in the orange dress. Then security's like the whole thing was like so weird. And then, but how was Julian a part of this? Like, why all of a sudden are they having a fight? Why is Zoya mad at Julian? Why doesn't Julian say, hey, I didn't do this? You know, like it was Luna and Monet. None of this end came together. It felt like they were pulling at straws to create conflict. And then that end fight, I was just like, why is Zoya so angry at Julian right now? I don't really understand.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, it was, to get that photo, it was also that weird scene. Like, Luna takes Max into the bathroom and he's like, well, you're the stylist. You can style me. You know?
Yeah.
Why is that so weird. Uncomfortable? And then all you hear is like a zip from the zipper. And that's another thing. Like, we kind of nodded on the opening sex scene with Audrey and Aki. And this show's on HBO, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why is this the tamest show I have ever seen on HBO that's supposed to be sexy and elite and whatnot? Like, it was sexier. Like, the opening sex scene of Serena and Chase Crawford, right? Of her and
that
Nate.
was steamy, baby.
And that's on the CW.
Yeah.
Like, that is one of the most beautifully shot sex scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you can hear Kate Rose, oh yeah. One of the most beautifully shot sex scenes. And it was, as you said, steamy.
Yeah.
And what we're getting from this is like the most PG thing I have ever seen in my life.
Like, two kids grinding in a bed. Like, they're both very attractive people, but I'm like, this is the most awkward looking sex I've ever seen. Like, run for the hills, you know?
Yeah.
So I definitely, I am very confused. I thought that because HBO was taking this series on, that was one thing they were going to do. One thing we wanted from Gossip Girl. Let's make it more steamy. Let's make it more provocative, more racy.
Yes.
And they've done the complete opposite of that.
I know. I'm like, I don't need True Blood. You know what I mean?
No one needs True Blood. I mean, I love the show.
I love True Blood.
That was a lot.
I mean, it was a lot. Like, I don't need that level, but I need something steamier than the CW. Like, even, you know, like, give me even Bridgerton, which I also didn't think was that steamy. Like,
but at least Bridgerton status. Yes.
Yeah. These scenes need to be better than Riverdale. That's all I have to say, because Riverdale also has some pretty steamy scenes.
Yeah.
The other thing we get in this weird cliffhanger is the Audrey Aki weird energy. Like, Aki's like going down on Audrey. Like, now we just said it wasn't steamy, and now I'm gonna talk about this.
I know, but it's done in the most PG way.
It really is. She's just like, here, and like shoves his head down. You really don't see what's going on, and she's like watching Max, and I'm just like, why is everything that these three people do make me so uncomfortable?
It's very uncomfortable. I'm interested by this. I think that, and this is another reason, even though Max is kind of toxic, I think that he's at least creating some kind of conflict that makes sense.
Yes.
So he's this, you know, pansexual playboy. And, you know, Audrey's like, she's allured by him. And you can see in this episode that Aki is obviously allured by him as well. But then they're Audrey and Aki are together. So I think that this whole triangle is interesting. I like it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'm curious to see where it goes. And I agree. It's like the most realistic drama that we've had so far. Or I should say potential drama that we have so far.
Yeah, rather than this sister drama that makes no sense so far.
And also, like, the back and forth between the sisters, even in this first episode, kind of gives me whiplash. Like, do they like each other? Do they not? Also, why would anyone care if they knew each other or not? Like, how have they set each other up in this world? I understand the fathers, but I don't understand the friends.
Yeah, exactly. And the friends being like, oh, you lied to us? We never lie to each other. I was like, yeah, right, BZ. You definitely all lie to each other. Don't try to tell me you're like the most honest friend group in the world. That didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I'm very lost on them. Was there anything else that we missed that you want to talk about? Check your notes.
No, I'm really happy that we talked about Max and Aki and Audrey, because I think that they that's where I see potential lying in this series so far. I really need them to give us reasons why Zoya and Julian should be best sister friends, but also why, or if they should be, you know, the worst of enemies. I need them to give us more of that. Yeah. But I did really like the stage that they like that whole model
That was
scene.
very cool.
That was, I'm like, okay, so we don't have money to like rent out a really nice New York apartment, but we can rent out this whole stage and do this whole thing for this model show. Like that was really epic, like what they did there. And so I like that. But you mentioned this in your review, and I think we need to start here and we'll talk about it in later episodes. But the fashion is wrong. I don't understand like what Luna and Monet were wearing at that fashion show. I'm just like so confused at the fashion so far. I think some of Zoya's outfits, or not Zoya, Julian's outfits have been pretty cute, but the fashion here is just not on point.
Yeah. And I mean, we can look back at old Gossip Girl and be like, oh my God, what were they wearing? But for the time, they were shopping at Bendel's. They were shopping at all the high-end spots and getting that gaudy kind of ugly stuff too. Yeah. But I feel like all of the outfits, like when they were at the bar, with Zoya's outfit was very cute, but everyone just kind of looks like they went to get prom dresses at Charlotte Russe. And
absolutely
that's not what this 100%. Should ever be.
Gossip Girl, the original was Luxe, and this is Charlotte Russe, definitely.
Hopefully it gets better. But we do see Gossip Girl is working in the end. The students are a little nicer to the teachers. Yep. They're paying attention. They are raising their hands. And Gossip Girl ends this episode with 5,692 followers.
Ooh.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if that is all we have, I'm going to wrap it up and say, guys, thank you so much for watching. And thank you, Shawn, for joining me. We will be back next week to discuss the next episode of Gossip Girl. Until next time, make sure you subscribe to both of our channels. Thumbs up this video. Ring the bells on our channels to make sure you don't miss any of our other videos. Until next time.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next week.